Hello and welcome to the Auto Story. My name is Stanford Masters and today we're going to be talking about riding gear and what you can choose. Now we all know that riding is essentially dangerous and you put your life on the line every time you go out on two wheels. In India, it's a way of life. Motorcycles are an unavoidable vehicle that a majority of the population use for their transportation. From kids going to college, the businessmen going to office, to the family of four traveling on one scooter. Usually motorcycles are limited to this, but if you're one of the few that use their bikes for more than just going to office and back, you may want to invest in something that keeps you safe. But what should you choose? Yes, we know that the helmets and jackets and gloves and boots and pants are the start and end of your motorcycle safety gear. But even within those, there are categories from ADV to urban gear to racing to motocross. So if you're confused about what you should get, maybe this video will help you and narrow down your choices for you. First things first, you need to ascertain what kind of riding you want to do. Everything else comes after. Everything from helmets to boots have been designed with different riding styles in mind, and this can help customers decide. For example, if you do long touring days with bags attached to the back of your bike, you may want to invest in a touring helmet and a jacket. Now, the helmet gives you a peak over your head to keep you protected from sunlight, and the jacket has multiple pockets to keep handy things on your person instead of rummaging through your bags every time you take a stop. On the other hand, if you do short, fast day trips and ride with a tank bag, you may want to invest in a more conventionally designed helmet for better aerodynamics and an urban jacket that provides a lot more mobility than your typical ADV jacket. Let's go categorically, starting with the most important gear. And yes, it is your helmet. Now, most crashes involve a type of head injury, and these can range from mere bruises to actual cracks in your skull. First and foremost, invest in a good dome, preferably one with ECE or Snell ratings. Of course, the ISI rating is also important since it's illegal to ride without an ISI certified helmet. Now, if you're riding on a daily basis or you do short quick trips with your friends, you will want something more along the conventionally designed lines of helmets. Now, there are plenty of brands that have this offering and prices typically start at the low 3000s for a good helmet. Then for the ADVs, you have the ADV helmet, which typically comes with a short curvy peak to keep the sunlight out of your eyes for as long as possible. Like I said before, these are good helmets on long journeys, but sometimes riders may find a problem with the wind pushing up against the peak, causing a mild strain in the neck. However, you just have to adjust how you wear your helmet to prevent this from happening. For both of these types of rides, however, there is one other option, modular helmet. Now, these helmets are available with or without the peak, and the peak itself can sometimes be removed. What makes this special is the fact that the chin bar can be popped open and slid upwards much like your visor. This helps when you feel like you do not want to remove your helmet every time you stop. However, there is one downside to the modular helmet. The same mechanism that makes it convenient also makes it heavier, which means there is a little more weight on your neck. Now, this weight can usually be adjusted to, and while riding, if the aerodynamics of the helmet is right, it will lift at certain speeds, making it feel lighter. Finally, you have the specialized helmets, race and motocross. Race helmets are almost indistinguishable from your normal urban helmets, save for a smaller visor and lighter, stronger construction. But they are the best when you want to go track racing. These are also usually extremely expensive, so check the hole in your pocket before you decide. Motocross, on the other hand, is the most distinguishable helmet out there. It gets no visor, a big long peak, and a protruding chin bar. These have all been designed with dirt biking and trail riding in mind. The peak protects you from roosts that riders in front of you potentially shoot up, and the protruding chin bar also allows for a lot of ventilation. The lack of a visor means you have to buy motocross goggles separately, and these get strapped the outside of the helmet, and the helmets are usually constructed with light grooves in the side that aid in holding the goggles in place. The next most important thing you need to have is boots. When you fall, the most probable type of fall you're going to have is a low side crash. Now, this is when the bike slides out in front of you, lying you down flat on the road. In this case, the first thing that touches the ground is your feet, or rather foot. It also means that most of the weight first falls on the foot on the ground and will grind on the tarmac with added force. In terms of what type, Again, we'll start with urban riding, short day trips and short intercity hops. For this, you might want to get a short ankle riding boot. Now these typically fit to just over the ankle and come with a number of protectors including toes, ankles and heels, and will generally come with some kind of venting so that your feet don't overheat. On the other hand, you have touring boots. Now these are taller with much of the same construction as urban riding boots but cover a part of the shin as well. This protects you from twisting your ankle in awkward directions and also protects you from hyperextension. Then you have racing boots. Racing boots again are specialized for track racing and as such have high abrasion resistance and high protection in all the needed areas. They are also tall and are always made of leather and plastics to help sliding. And finally, motocross boots. Now these are the sturdiest of the bunch here and also the most difficult to get used to. They're made with extremely thick plastic all around to survive any kind of crash out in the wild or on a dirt track. It keeps stones and sticks from hitting and or penetrating the shoe, and the tall construction helps keep the foot from getting twisted into ugliness by a tree branch that was sticking out on the trail. The next thing you want to invest in is a set of gloves. Now there are a variety of gloves out there and most ADV touring and urban gloves can be lumped into one category. These are typically made of mesh, leather or a combination of the two, and what you have to remember is that the leather will offer more abrasion resistance than mesh gloves. Mesh on the other hand will offer more ventilation to keep your hands cooler on summer days. Now usually the combination is better to go with, but the most important thing to look for when buying gloves is the palm slider. This is the small piece of plastic that's fitted on your palm. In a fall, the first thing that goes down after your feet is your hands. And if you have the palm slider, it will slide along the road rather than biting and twisting. Now for track racing, you will have to use full gauntlet gloves which are made of only leather. Lots of leather. If you crash in a race, it's mostly going to be in a high speed one, so you want as much abrasion resistance as possible so that you're not sanding your skin down to the bone. Then you have your typical motocross gloves, which are usually made of textile and feature no more protection than the padding on your palm. Now this is because you want your hand to move as freely as possible while you're standing, and the padding on your palm keeps from hurting yourself from stones on the floor. Now motocross crashes are typically at lower speeds and the ground is made of dirt, so it will slide on its own in most cases. And finally, there's the debate about which is more important, pants or jackets. Now this is probably where people will also go down to the comment section, but then again, it's not wrong to say that a torso or leg injury probably won't kill you, at least not in a normal crash. However, there are still varieties in this, so I'll leave an explanation. Now, urban jackets are shorter and can be made of textile, mesh or leather. Leather provides the most sandpaper resistance while mesh is the breeziest. Touring or ADV jackets usually come in a combination of mesh and textile. Now these have enough pockets to rob a house plus one for your phone. They also have ventilation panels so you can adjust how breezy you want to feel on the inside. Additionally, these jackets also have a winter liner for the colder season. Now pants also can be lumped into one category for both ADV and urban and are generally constructed using textile. All of these come with armors built into them, but whether the spine protector in the jacket or the hip protector in the pants are available depends on the brand and the price of gear. Now just because I said it won't kill you doesn't mean it's not important. I got really bad road rash from a slide once, and every time I took a shower my girlfriend thought a witch was laughing inside. I was screaming. Now finally you have the specialized category for racing and motocross. Obviously these are mandatory, so I won't say go to the track and blaze a trail at 100 km per hour in your t-shirt and shorts. You need a full racing suit, primarily made out of leather. And the best kinds are the ones that are made to fit. Motocross on the other hand, you have to buy the armor separately. This sits under the jersey you wear for as much mobility as possible, and the same is the case with pants. Now while this is slightly more than your typical explanation of riding gear, there are other factors that you need to look at, like what is the kind of climate you will be riding. Will it be cold, in which case you'll need less ventilation and more layers? Will it be hot? Then you'll need as much mesh as possible. Are you going to ride fast? Is there a lot of city traffic? Will you be going off-road? These are, however, slightly secondary. Now, I'm not a big fan of the AdCap mindset. I'm sure a lot of people will comment, but I will usually tell riders to at least wear a helmet. I mean, if I'm going 5 minutes away to buy milk, I'm not going to suit up for 15 minutes before and after the ride. And if you do want to wear gear, make sure what you have is comfortable. You don't need to wear the exact gear for the exact circumstance. Put on a racing suit, wear urban gloves, use a modular helmet, and rock those motocross boots. The choice is yours. My name is Stanford Masters. This is the Auto Story. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.